Hey guys, this is Siddhi from Best of Beauty. So as you saw from the title, today's video is going to be a beauty blender battle. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you all about the 3 famous beauty blenders and this is what they look like. So the first one is Pax Beauty Blender, then the second one is the Original Beauty Blender and the third one is the YBP Makeup Perfector. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about each sponge individually, the price of this sponge and where you can get this sponge and also the pros and the cons of the sponge, and I'm going to compare all of them as well. And at the end, I'm going to tell you which is the best beauty blender according to me. So yeah, let's get started with the video. So first we're going to start with the Original Beauty Blender and this is what it looks like. As you can see, this is a black sponge. They have the pink one as well, but this is the Pro Beauty Blender that I have and this costs around 2000 rupees. I got this from Cult Beauty or beautylish.com. You get it at nykaa.com as well. I'm going to link all the websites down below so you can go and check it out for yourselves. So the price of this beauty blender varies from the website you buy it from. So on Nykaa it's above 2000, whereas if you buy it from a website abroad, you get this at a cheaper price. So now I'm just going to read certain things about this beauty blender that they've mentioned on the website. So they say that this features an open cell structure that fills with small amounts of water when wet than being absorbed, allowing you to use less product every time. So what they're basically trying to say is that this particular sponge that's there, it has an open cell structure. So when you wet this sponge, instead of absorbing the water, what it's going to do is that it's going to store the water inside the sponge. So when you use the makeup, whatever you're applying on your face, the makeup is not going to get absorbed in this, and so whenever you're applying foundation, you're going to use less product. Also, sorry if the light is fluctuating, it's because the sun is setting right now and I don't use artificial lighting, so just bear with me on that. So that was about the Original Beauty Blender. Now we're going to move on to Pax Beauty Blender and this is what it looks like when they originally launched it. So this costed around 475 rupees when they originally launched it, but sadly this has been discontinued. Now they actually sell 2 beauty blenders, so it's like a set which you're supposed to purchase. So that beauty blender set costs for around 745 rupees and you get 2 beauty blenders in it which have different shapes, and each beauty blender then costs around 372 rupees. So in the description about this product, they have just mentioned that the product is going to sit on top of it and it's not going to absorb anything. So now we're going to move on to the recent launch and this is the YBP Makeup Perfector and this is what it looks like. Okay, so there are 2 shades available. So there's a black one and then they have a white one. The white one is specifically meant for sensitive skin. That doesn't make sense to me, but yeah. So this makeup sponge is available on Nykaa and on their website as well. It costs for around 1200 rupees, but they have a discount going on most of the times. So you will get this at around 1100 rupees to 1000 bucks. So on their website, they have just mentioned that this is a latex free material. So those were all the basic details that you need to know with respect to these sponges. Now I'm going to move on to the comparison and how they work on your skin. So now I'm just going to soak these sponges in water and we're going to see how much they expand. So I'm done soaking them in water and this is how they look like after that. So this is the YBP Makeup Perfector. As you can see that this has expanded so much and this is how it looks like. The second one is Pax Beauty Blender and this is what it looks like. And then the last one is the original one which looks like this. So now I'm just going to show you how they look like right next to each other and this is what it looks like. So as you can see that the Pax Beauty Blender and the original one are almost the same when they expand, whereas this Makeup Perfector, the YBP one, has expanded a lot. So I have used 3 of these sponges individually and I have tested them out as well. So I'm going to test them on these grounds. So first is how much product do they soak, then the blendability and the coverage, then the finish on the skin, then can it be used for concealing, baking and contouring, and the cleansing process and the durability. So first let's talk about which is the softest one among all of these. So I have to say that the softest has to be the Original Beauty Blender because this softness and the feel of this sponge is completely different as compared to these two. So the Pax Beauty Blender and the YBP Makeup Perfector, they feel really same and they are soft. Obviously I'm not saying that they are not, but I really feel that the Original Beauty Blender is the softest amongst all of these 3. So in this video, I'm not going to show you a demo of these sponges because using 3 sponges at one go is really difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tell you my personal experiences when I use these products, and trust me, I've used them enough to actually give you guys a detailed review on all of these. So first let's talk about the sponge that soaks the most amount of product, and that is the YBP Makeup Perfector. So I applied the foundation on my face and then I tried to blend it, but you know there was a lot of product that was left on the sponge, which basically suggests that this absorbs a lot of product. So you know you have to use a lot of product when you're working with this sponge. And the sponge that used the least amount of product is actually the Original Beauty Blender, and PAX Beauty Blender is like right in between both of these two that are there. So now let's talk about blendability and coverage, and according to me the Original Beauty Blender is the most effective in this situation, and these two are almost the same. So I think that they are not bad when it comes to blending, but I just feel like the original one just performs much better as compared to these two. So now I'm going to talk to you about the size and the shape of these, because that really matters, right? So as you guys can see that both of these sponges that are there, they are in similar size when they expand as compared to this one, which is really huge. So when I was blending my foundation with this sponge specifically, it was really difficult because this sponge is just too big in size. It's difficult to hold as well, and it definitely doesn't work for concealing because it's just too big in size. I just wish that it didn't expand so much, whereas these two, they expand the right amount, and this is just perfect for blending your foundation on your face. I definitely think that both of these sponges can be used for concealing as well, because you know you can just squeeze this sponge and use this in your inner corner and blend the concealer really well. And definitely I use this for baking purposes as well because it works really well. But when it comes to this sponge right here, you really can't blend your concealer because this is so huge. So if this didn't expand so much, maybe it would have worked, but because it is so big, you really can't use it on your face well. So when it comes to the cleansing process, I actually use the Original Beauty Blender's the solid cleanser that you get, and that cleanses all of these sponges really well. I just feel that if you're going for the YBP Makeup Perfector by any means, then don't get the white one. Definitely get the black one, because the white just looks so dirty whenever you use it, because obviously the foundation is going to be visible on the sponge. So now let's move on to the last point, and that is durability. So I've used these sponges for approximately 1 or 2 months, and as of now they look really good to me. But if I see any difference, then I will keep you guys updated. So add me on Snapchat, the username is Siddhi, because I will keep you guys updated over there. So now coming to the final verdict, I have to say that my Original Beauty Blender just wins, because this is just the perfect sponge for blending your makeup. It just blends really well. You can use this for a lot of purposes. For contouring, I use it for baking, for concealing, for foundation as well. And if you have this sponge, you don't require any other brushes. This sponge also doesn't soak up a lot of product, and the quality of this sponge is really good. And even if it's expensive, it's really famous because it does the job really well and it's worth the money. And I think that it's really good quality. So if you are a person who loves makeup and if you want to invest in a good makeup tool, then you can definitely go for the Original Beauty Blender. Now I know that the Original Beauty Blender is really expensive and not everybody wants to spend so much on a sponge. So I have my second favorite, and that is PAX Beauty Blender. So this is the closest dupe to the Original Beauty Blender. I obviously would like to mention that this is not the same thing. The Original Beauty Blender is much better, and it's the best according to me. And I don't think that there is any sponge in the market that can beat the Beauty Blender at this point of time. But I really do think that the PAX Beauty Blender is also good quality. You get 2 sponges for $7.45, which is really good. And I think that if you don't want to spend on the original one, then you can definitely go for the PAX one. Now coming to the last sponge, which is the YBP Makeup Perfector right here, I really don't think that you should spend 1,200 bucks on this sponge because it's not worth the money. This sponge was such a big hype on social media, and that's the reason I went ahead and purchased it, and I thought it's going to be a close dupe to the Beauty Blender, but I really don't like it. I think the most disappointing part about this sponge is that it's just too big, so it's difficult to use on your face, and you cannot use it for a lot of other reasons like concealing and contouring and baking and all of that. I think this is just good for foundation, but if you're paying 1,200 bucks for this, I think you expect more out of this particular sponge. I don't want to criticize this particular thing. It might be good, it might work for some people, but I just think that you can definitely go for the PAX one and save some money rather than going for this one. So yeah guys, this was my Beauty Blender battle. I really like the name on this. I hope you guys like this review, and if you liked it, then make sure you give this video a thumbs up and share it with all your friends. Also, if there's any sponge that you guys think is really good and I should try it out, then make sure you leave a comment down below because I would love to try that out. And last but definitely not the least, make sure you follow me on my social media and add me on Snapchat as well, and hit the subscribe button right now. It will really mean a lot to me, and I will see you in the next one. Love you.